I got two hands, I got my mouth, I know how to earn money.
Good morning. All right. Good morning, Popeye. Okay. Oh, what's the title of the show? Should we judge others' lifestyle? Well, that's a good question. How do we answer that? I think what people do with their life doesn't necessarily have to be to the approval of everybody. How many women they date, how many women live with them. Well, think about it. People are basically going to do whatever they want to do. You don't have to approve of it. You go down the line, talk about a lot of YouTubers. I mean, we don't have to approve of what Barry does or did, but it just seems like there's always a price to pay for something, you know. That's what I've been thinking about on that. There's always a price to pay for something. How people generally choose to live their life is basically their business. Although we all talk about it, it's just according to what they do. I think the degree of what they do. Does it affect others? Does it harm others? I think that's the criteria that's really involved with that. Some people are just looking for attention and they try to get it any way they can. That's pretty obvious on here. But we have people on here that choose to live a life of debauchery but here's the thing. When it comes to reality, it actually is their business. We can make comment on it, we can offer an opinion on it, but we can choose not to live that lifestyle. See, we all got our own choices. And we may not approve of somebody, how they treat somebody else. We may not approve of how they live their life, having more than one woman in their life, for example. We know that always ends up in disaster, but, a lot of us will comment on it and say, well, that ain't right. You're a godly person, You be with one female and devote yourself and your love, if it's love, to one person. But that's their thing. When you really get down to it, it actually is their business. It really is. We could talk about it and say, man, that seems wrong. Well, you know what? It's something that you don't have to do. It's something that you don't have to practice. If you make a career out of bashing somebody here on YouTube or something, there's generally consequences that follow that. And we found that out, didn't we? I'll give you an example of somebody on YouTube here. How about Slim, the Estonian guy? And these people are expert on what they do on trying to get the audience attention. He's a very good example, actually. Going to get massages from young Filipinas, always hanging around young Filipinas. It's if you can't see what he's trying to do, you're blind and deaf, or just genuinely stupid. he knows how to get the views on his show. It's already been an agreed thing with his wife that, yeah, I'm going to be hanging around with Filipinos so I can get the viewers on here. Oh, okay, dear. As long as it brings in the money. And people buy into this shit. It's all staged, it's all choreographed. I honestly don't think that he's actually fooling around with these young Filipinos. I don't think he's doing that at all. I don't think he'd want to really jeopardize his marriage, or whether they are married or not, to his wife. She's actually a nice girl. I think a lot of stuff on here is choreographed, and I'm actually guilty of choreographing some stuff on my show through the years, just to gotta get a reaction from people, and I've always got a reaction of most of the stuff I've done on here. As long as it's not hurting anybody. You choreograph whatever you want. Whether you're just doing it as a test to get response from people, or you're trying to get views or subs or whatever. I don't know, I'm just pretty much straightforward. I'm kind of like, what you see is what you get type of person, really. I'm not trying to hide my lifestyle and shit. There's nothing to hide, actually. It's pretty mundane, really. I'm not out chasing ass, because I don't need to. And I'm not trying to, get 100,000 subs, because that's never going to happen. And I'm not really pushing to get monetized, because I've been down that road before. And it was not very fruitful. So that's kind of the way I do things. Okay. This is some hot stuff here. The elixir of life. Imagine if we actually did have something that was elixir of life. Viking Sun graces our show here. Didn't they say the Estonian makes 6,000 per month? Is that true? He is making the bank. I don't know. I don't know what he's making. I'm sure he's making something decent, But everybody has their own formula how to make money, and some are more successful than others. But of course, if you're going to use, it's the old standby, actually. The old standby is, putting Filipinos on camera. It's a tool that works and has historically worked for people who have YouTube shows. Put Filipinos on there. That's what people want to look at. You got these hard-ons all over the world that plan on coming to the Philippines simply to get laid. And they want to see what kind of stock is out there, And they love watching these videos where a grown-ass guy's hanging around prepubescent girls or something, because they know that's going to get the attention, because there's a lot of guys out there that like these really, really young ones. I mean really, really young. As you get older, your choices, well, if you're living in a place like in Western countries, of course, as you get older, you'll find it hard to get, any woman that's considerably younger than you. That's nearly an impossibility. Only in a certain circumstances can you get that, if you have a lot of money, you're famous or something like that. And that's acceptable in Western culture, You'll see Hollywood stars with, women that are at least 20, sometimes 30 years younger than them. But they could do that, and people actually accept that, because, you're famous. You can get whatever you want. People say, well, we understand it. We understand how that works. That's acceptable in America. But if you're just a nobody in America, and there's going to be a lot of judgment, saying, what is that old fuck doing with this young girl? Or somebody by first sight will say that must be his granddaughter, or great-granddaughter or something, but but you're famous with a young person. They actually expect that in America. They accept it. They don't scratch their heads too much, because we see it so often. But little did these stars know that if they really want something young, just come to the Philippines. You get as young as you want, whatever your motive is. It's right here in the Philippines. We're in a good relaxed mode this morning here. I just try to keep up with the news here and there. I'm waiting for Trump to keel over and not get up again. Got to get this guy out of office. It's heading that way. By the way, don't believe everything you hear on there too, because they got these so-called fake newscaster type shows, saying that Trump is getting impeached, and no, he's not. And he'd probably get away with it again too. There you go with the money thing. The money equals power, and I don't know. Oh, yeah, don't even get me started talking about Trump, because, I'll go on and on and on, because there's so much to talk about with him. But okay, but getting back on track here. Let's try to get back on track. I gotta have my tea here. No, there's no green tea in here, by the way. I haven't gone to the store to buy it. They didn't have any locally. I'm simply doing a ginger tea with turmeric and lemon, black pepper. Let me see, lemon, ginger, turmeric, black pepper. There's no tea in here. It's my own tea. It's a ginger tea, basically, turmeric, which is just as good. But I gotta have my green tea. I'm gonna have to go buy some today. There's a purpose to just about everything I do, actually. Okay, so getting back to the topic matter. Should we be judgmental of other people's actions? Well, there's plenty of that going on here. I think most YouTubers on here are always judging somebody else. I just kind of think about things this way. What you do with your life, has a return on it. It come back and slap you in the face, or you could be rewarded for the things you do too. But a lot of people get kind of slapped in the face for the things they do, just to get the attention, or to try to piss somebody off on YouTube. People's lifestyle, put it this way, catches up to them. It's the best way I could probably describe it. It catches up to them sooner or later. Whether they're obese, they eat a lot, they eat the lousiest foods in the world and just don't take care of themselves, they drink and all that stuff. Everything catches up sooner or later. Their attitude, too, that catches up with you, too. You may do things on here for fun. You want to just irritate somebody or something, but, here we go again. What I always say, it all comes out in the wash down the line somewhere, that their less than desirable behavior on YouTube catches up with them. Somebody takes a baseball bat to their head or something, or maybe they fucking drop from a heart attack or some shit like that. And that falls under the category of karma, of course, good old karma. But, a lot of people are just looking for attention. Yeah, well, maybe the best thing to do is not to give them attention, That's what they're seeking. Look at me. I just made, all this money. How many women they have in their household. And it's quite purposeful why they do that. It's purposeful why they do that. They want the attention. Should we give them that attention? That's the question. That's what they thrive on. Most of these people are fuck-ups in their own way. You just give it time. You give people enough rope, chances are they're going to hang themselves sooner or later down the line. Now, I don't know what the Estonian makes, but he's making good. That's why he does all these antics on there to get your attention. And that's why Philippines Antics actually tries to be controversial and talk about everything going on YouTube and putting their nose into everybody's business. It's a formula that they follow. It's a formula for success. It gives them the views and subs and all that, and that's what they do. Sorry, Papa, I'm not going to give you too exciting of a show this morning, but I'm sure you'll have something to say about it. There's one guy that karma's hitting him hard. I think karma has already hit this guy hard. But, probably more to come. Well, the word come in Popeye doesn't, go good in one sentence. The last time he came was with his fucking hand, but we won't go there. Okay. You're either going or you're coming. Oh, not too lively this morning here. If I start yawning, I'm going to get off here. Yawn, yawn, except for Viking Sun making a comment on here. Okay, it's too hot to drink here. That's what gets me up in the morning here, really. Some people like to have their coffee. Yeah, it's very disturbing with caffeine because there are people actually dying, and the manufacturers don't take any responsibility. These energy drinks, boosters, all this drinks that have like an enormous amount of caffeine in there. Well, it's sending their heart into some arrhythmia is what's going on with that. I just seen something on the internet. Some 24-year-old girl died, very attractive too. Not that it matters that she's attractive or not, but she died because she had about 4 or 5 of these highly caffeinated drinks, which is loaded with caffeine and sugar in it. So young. So young. That's horrible. I don't know why these young people seem to think they need all this energy. They're full of energy. But it's kind of a high for them, really, why they take it. That's right, caffeine kills too. Nicotine could kill, caffeine could, alcohol can kill. Then you got these jamolis, right, Popeye, jamolis. We'll take that term from you, I like it. The only thing you ever said that I like. Jamolis has a nice ring to it. They're going to be drinking all day, and thinking, hey, okay, here's a good one. People commented on Jim, Asian Adventures. He said, oh, you're drinking again. He says, yeah, I am. Because I don't really care. I'm on vacation. I could drink all I want. That's an alcoholic's excuse. I'm on vacation, so that gives me the license to drink more because I'm on vacation. That's a sick mind. And that's an alcoholic. They don't need an excuse to drink. Right, Pops? They don't need an excuse to drink. Oh, I'm on vacation. I want to enjoy myself. Okay. Do it. Drink more. Drink a lot more. That's what I say. Drink. Well, good to your muscles if you're going to die. You're going to die with muscles. There you go. That's going to do you a lot of good when you're dead. But at least I died with muscles. If they could come back and give a little speech about their death. I died with muscles. Well, thanks to those roids. But I'm not going to make judgment on him for that. Because, as I said, everything you do has a price to it. That's right. Having a girlfriend has a price to it. Everything has a price to it. The things you do has a price to it. If you're doing something very negative, generally you're going to get negative feedback or negative results will happen. I don't know. It's just a law. There's laws of physics. There's different laws of nature that what you do comes back at you and all that shit. And it eventually does. I've witnessed this on YouTube for years. For years. I was just thinking this morning. I was just doing an upload rather than did a live. I said, oh fuck, what the fuck? I'll just do a live. But the question was, should we judge others for what they do? Well, I think to answer that, I would say it's according to what they do. If it's hurting other people, you definitely have a right to talk about it and say something about it. You're not going to stop somebody from doing something stupid anyway. That's just not going to happen. You got to let them do what they're going to do, and they learn from that lesson. And I hate to keep on using Barry as an example, but he's a prime example of being so consistent with his buffoonery. And, now he's been incarcerated over 2 3/4 years, pushing 3. And you would think that maybe you'd learn from that, but some people don't, and they just go back to repeating the same shit over and over again. It's never really gotten them anywhere. I mean, obviously so. But as I said, you can suggest to people, maybe it's a good idea that you stop doing what you're doing, and I mean, that's the best you can do. You can't force anybody to do anything. And you shouldn't have to force anybody to do anything anyway. It's not any of our business to force anybody to do something that they don't want to do. Now, that's a fact. For example, if somebody is happy having more than one female partner, that's their gig. It never turns out great. It never does. One of them will turn on you or something or whatever. You know it's going to happen, right? You're just waiting for that ride to end. You know down the road something's going to go array. But it's not your gig, it's theirs, man. Let them do what they're going to do. Sure, I've criticized people for doing shit like that, where one partner is just not enough, and, what they're trying to prove, I don't really know. But it doesn't always turn out real well, actually. It creates so much complications. And we know that for a fact, don't we? Judge yourself. Judge yourself. If you think you're doing something wrong, you correct it. Or you don't. We all have choices. We may not agree with everybody's choices, how they live their life. But again, it's their life. People like Robert Clausen could be doing shows every morning, simulcasting me and talking shit about me. Well, you got to look at it this way, and you got to look at it through a different lens. Is a guy enjoying his life? Obviously not. He doesn't go anywhere on trips. He doesn't really go anywhere, do anything. So look at his life, then look at yours. That's all. That's all you got to do. Comparative studies. Because I think it is kind of sick that you every morning waiting for a live show to go on, and you simulcast it, then you go into a whole session making judgment on what the person says. I say make judgment on yourself is what I say. Now, these people know what their life is all about. They know what their lifestyle is about. Only they know it for sure, 100%. Who knows? Maybe Popeye makes trips all over the country. Well, doubt it. Maybe he's got a girlfriend on the side or something. Doubt it. But he also is into gaming. I think one of his favorite gaming is Battleship. Being in the Navy, I understand, respect the career you're in and all that stuff, right? That's all right, that's okay, but come on, man. That's like 40 years ago or something, man. Move on. Move on with your life. Or whatever remaining years you have, do something, anything. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Do something to change things up a little bit because, last I ever figured out, we only got one life. Make the best of it. And what is considered the best for you is it's a highly personal thing, but that's it's your gig. Some people are happy with their life, and it may not be terribly exciting. It's according to where they live, and according to expenses. It's according to your own lifestyle, and some people just like to kick back. If you manage to live to your 60s or the 70s or 80s, basically you do what the fuck you want. Because you made it that far. I guess what I'm trying to say, you made it that far. Congratulate yourself. Because with all the possibilities in life that could take your life, germs, bacteria, diseases, viruses, car accidents, over drinking, killing your liver, killing your lover maybe. Everything has consequences, man. God, we could just pump down how many. Good morning. How many YouTubers are now expired? Or shall I use modern terminology now with the woke generation? Now I call it, how many YouTubers are unalived? That's got to be the word of the year, actually, for me, is unalived. I admit I've never heard that before, till maybe this year. Let's call it what it is. If somebody's unalive, they're dead. Just say they're dead. They died. They were not unalived. That's got to be the key. The key word of the year that came into what I've heard and has been used on the internet. I don't know how they came up with that name. Instead, it's just straightforward. They became unalived. Unalived? Are you fucking kidding me? They died. Say that they died. Unalived. That's a good one. That, I admit, is a good one. But we got a boring audience here today. But actually, we got a very big audience because Popeye, thank you, Popeye. Popeye is broadcasting my show. So if I don't have the numbers here, just add his numbers, and there you go. I got a lot of viewers this morning. See, it's how you look at things. Your cup is either half full or it's half empty. Good analogy. As it applies to my show anyway. Okay, this is cool enough to drink. No, that's actually tasty. What did I do different on this morning? Not bad. The one thing I have to advise you, if you're going to take lemon every day, just make sure you definitely rinse your mouth, brush your teeth afterwards. That kill your enamel. For those that actually have teeth, very few YouTubers have teeth. Teeth, as we call it, teeth, T-E-E-F. Papa, I hope you at least watch, if you have any teeth at all, if you have dentures, I hope you at least clean them. A little bit oral health. Nah, we're not going to talk about him. He's a boring topic. And you all know him, what he's all about, so that should serve the purpose. Just knowing his lifestyle, if you want to call it lifestyle, that means that you actually have a life. If you want to call it a lifestyle, there's no style to his life at all except making simulcasts of me. That's the biggest excitement I'm going to give you this morning, Popeye. Nothing too juicy for you this morning, but I'm sure you'll find something to attack. on just about anything I say on here. You'll turn it around, I'm sure. Hey, you know what, Pops? Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. Anyway, we're not going to do a long show this morning anyway. I just wanted to talk about this judgment shit. Let people do what they're going to do. They're in control of their lives, and they do what they think is best for them. You may not agree with everything, you may not agree with Popeye does, but somehow it gives him some excitement and a reason to live, doing simulcast about me. You could question why he does it. You could, try to ponder that in your mind. But we all know it comes down to one thing. It's you don't have a lifestyle or a life if you're doing something like that. Are you going to get the cream cheese on your birthday? No? Oh. Well, why don't you... That's infected. Get the antibacterial.
After I eat.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that looks like your finger got a little infected there. I think that's your first priority before you drink your cup of coffee.
Because I held the...
Well, I know why you got that little abrasion from raking something, whatever you're doing. I told you got to wear gloves.
Just a little.
Yeah, you got to watch it out here. You get a little abrasion or something from anything. You want to definitely treat it with an antibiotic gel, because that's one thing is true. There's plenty of lovely microbials here in the Philippines. If you haven't figured it out by now. Look what happened to Fazio, now he's dead. It can start off out here as a little nick. It's according to what kind of bacteria you got, spread in your bloodstream. It caused all kinds of havoc. Well, some guy's laying in his grave or whatever, his ashes. That is unalived. He's unalived now. Because of something that was very small that turned into something very big, because they were just too asinine to figure it out that, and when did you figure? In his case, it's mind-boggling because he actually showed pictures of the craters. You heard what I said, craters like on the moon of his wounds. I couldn't believe that he showed it on camera. And when he did, I was like, whoa, man. When did you figure out you had a problem, Jack? That was nasty. Pustulating and everything. Craters. It's like some of these people who actually, you'll see on these shows, on the internet, where they walk into a doctor's office there, and they got a tumor the size of another human being. So the first question I wonder is, when did you first realize that you had a problem? why didn't you tackle it when it was just a little, bump or something? And they let these things grow. Some of them got their face and head consumed by these either lipomas or cysts or whatever. When did you figure you had a problem? Well, okay, if it's really in an undeveloped country, it's because, they didn't have money for doctors, and they just accepted what they had. But there's always somebody that'll do it sort of, pro bono type stuff to help you out. But how do you let something go that bad, where a tumor is consuming your whole freaking body, or a cyst? I'm still scratching my head on that one. They get it so bad that they've had it on their face, where they can't even breathe through their nose or even hardly eat their food. When did you figure you had this problem? That's the first question. And it's a good question. I understand about the money thing, getting something done, but where there's a will, there's a way. Get it out in public, and there's always somebody. You collect funds. They got GoFundMe, they got all kinds of stuff going on. And everybody's got access to internet, even the most poorest countries. They're all walking around with cell phones. you know, they all have the knowledge of how to use a cell phone. They all have the knowledge of being on social media. I had never understood it. You got something serious like that, you take care of it, man. Don't let it literally consume you. And people are actually consumed by these, whether they're lipomas or cysts or whatever it might be. I seen a woman on there, and I've actually seen somebody locally that has this. And there's all these big lumps all over their face and body and arms. And I asked myself the same question. Jesus Christ, when did you figure out that you had this problem? Why couldn't you take care of it? Well, it's always the thing about money. Well, they can't afford to take care of the problem. All right, I understand that on one level, but certainly, come on, man. Family could kind of parlay some money together or something. I mean, I don't know. I almost think there's no excuse for that at all. You got something that serious going on with you, man, and you don't attend to it, and you let it get that bad. There's something wrong with you besides the lipomas or whatever it is you have. Some of them are just sebaceous cysts. Some of them are lipomas. Some of them are cancerous tumors. Some of them are benign. But it has to do with your immune system going wacko. Sometimes you may have to take immunosuppressants. But I just can't see somebody walking around like that. And there's a lady, and there's even another guy, I think, we've seen with that around here. I haven't seen her around in a while. But they walk around like it's an everyday thing. Oh, it's just me. Hello, accept me for who I am, whatever. This is what I look like. Although my body's getting consumed with this, I find it hard to bathe because it hurts, and maybe they're getting infections from it. But, they go on from day to day, and, But again, when we bring the word judgment, we're making judgment, and I'm kind of making a judgment right now, in a way. Why don't you take care of this stuff before it just gets out of control? I can make a judgment on that, but there are other circumstances and factors why they have it and why they haven't taken care of it. Again, money always has a lot to do with it, but there's also another factor. There's a lot of people that are afraid to do anything about it, even if they were able to get the money. Some people just don't like operations or anything. Gilda had a small cyst in her ear from going snorkeling with me one day, and just a tiny little cyst. She went to go for a minor operation. Her blood pressure just shot up like a mofo. She's not used to having an operation or something. It wasn't no major operation or nothing, but to her, she's not used to having anything done like that. Shoots her blood pressure up. Me, I've been down that road. I've been in hospitals for hernias, for this, for that, for this, for that, for kidney stones. Well, I haven't been in the hospital that much, but I've had ear operations, several of them in my lifetime. 3 to 4, maybe, I don't know. Oh, the tree looks nice this year at Fuente, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see that tree. Yeah, they got the tree up at Fuente. They had a lighting ceremony the other day. Yeah, look at that. Very exciting, very exciting. Christmas is a big time of year for the Philippines. Being probably 80% Catholic,
Maybe not Catholic. celebrate Christmas.
Huh?
Even not Catholic.
Well, even in non-Catholics, they celebrate, just non-Catholics that celebrate Christmas too, not just Catholics, but predominantly here in the Philippines. Aloe back. Just tuned in. Aloe, Popeye was saying some bad things about you. Well, he was playing the other day some shows, how many years ago, where you was just on the major attack of me. So basically, Popeye was saying that Frank's a fool to think that Aloe is friendly with him, that Aloe hates my guts, and he was playing some real racy stuff, that you put on about me. This was last week he was doing this. I actually know Popeye's not your favorite person on here, I know that. Anyway, welcome to the show this morning here. I was just talking about judgment and how people are judging others for this and that. And how maybe we really shouldn't judge people because, consequences kind of happen to them on their own. And let people do what they're going to do. If they want to have a harem, let them have a harem. There's always some consequences to what people do, is what we're basically saying here. And I did a show, I mentioned you on there in regards to what Popeye said. Look, I said, I know Aloe. He's just trying to say, well, Aloe hates Frank. That I'm allowing you on my show and not blocking you. But what Aloe really thinks of Frank. So of course, Popeye, famous for his little videos and little clippings, put something on there the other day to basically try to say that Aloe is not your friend, that Aloe hates you, and here's proof of it, blah, 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 blah. How do you respond to that, Mr. Aloe? In fact, he's simulcasting me right now, by the way, Aloe. But I think you probably figured that out. That's a little bitter. They're all bitter lemons. I put lemons in my tea, but I try not to be bitter. That'll consume you. God, I don't like coffee. No, he did it last week. He was playing some clips from the past when you were just in the total attack mode on me, my daughter, and all that stuff. I don't like coffee, but I like the grounds. I like the smell of the grounds here. Isn't it amazing? I love the smell of coffee, but I don't drink it. Oh, I know you just tuned in. I'm just telling you that Popeye was using your material when you were on the attack of me. It was last week he did this. It wasn't too long ago. And he likes to use you as an example. I guess he's upset that you come on my show. He's a little jealous. So he had to turn around and put some videos on and showing that Aloe is the least of your friend on here, Frank. And here's some things he had to say about you. That's what he did. I know you just tuned in. I'm just giving you an update. Is there anything you want to say to Popeye or anything on my show? Because he's simulcasting me right now. I'm sure of it. That's what he does every morning. So if you got something to say to him, say it. Alice says, I think you are well aware of the things I said about you, Nadal. I'm very well aware of it. But I have to also ask the question, why did you say such cruel things against me? I don't understand it. I think you know me well enough. You've been following me for a long time. Do you really think I'm this character that people depict me to be? That's a good question. Or is it all for entertainment? I think the community knows where I stand when it comes to you. Interesting answer. Well, tell me where it stands. Let's not be cryptic. well, I don't think you're being cryptic, but I would say, where do you stand? I don't know. About doing a show about it. We've talked about it. You just got 10 people watching me on here. You got people on Popeye's show that's watching too, and all the major trolls are there. So I think this would be a great opportunity. It's the same thing as doing a live together, because we are doing a live right now, and Popeye's doing a simulcast on there, and he has some viewers on there. Well, you talk about both, back then or now or whatever. What drove you to hate me so much? And do you honestly feel, and putting all bullshit aside, do you honestly feel that I've done things that warrant me to be attacked like people have attacked me? Do you honestly believe I'm a terrible father? Do you actually believe that I'm a pedophile? Do you actually believe any of that bullshit? We're live now. We don't have to we are doing a show together. We're doing it right now because Popeye's simulcasting. So this is an opportunity right now. So why not do it right now? Tell me how you really feel. Tell me where you stand regarding me. Tell me what you think is the good about me, what's the bad about me, what you know I really did or didn't do, or there you go. Okay, I want you to state the facts. You are live, Aloe. We are doing a show right now. We don't have to do a show together. We got the audience. You got my people on here, and you got all the trolls in the world. And you know who they are. They're all on Popeye's show right now. This is a great opportunity. So please state the facts. Let's do that. Great opportunity. Fantastic opportunity. All right. Aloe says, I said, and many others said so too, that you would not stay with Gilda, that you would not last for 6 months with her, and I was wrong, and they were wrong. True. Thank you for saying that. In other words, I've proved them wrong so many goddamn times that, it takes a mathematician to add it up. But continue. There you go, folks. Al at least has the balls and the Constitution to say what he thinks. That never stopped him before, and never will. But let him say, good or bad, whatever he wants to say. I'm not gonna block him. I'm not gonna do that. I want to give him the opportunity to set things straight for all to hear. And you've got all the trolls. They're on there right now, I'm sure, on Popeye's show. So you're not just speaking to me and my audience here. If they're a teen, whatever he has listening on his show, let them get the facts too. Regurgitate a few syllables. Alice says, 2 people said Frank is done. Frank is going to get arrested. Frank is this and that, and nothing happened. Something could happen. We don't know yet. Yeah, I don't hide facts. I talk about facts. Immigration can do whatever the hell they want. I really don't think it's going to go that way. But, well, anyway, the rumor is that a couple of people are paying off somebody to prolong the resolution. That's the latest thing I've heard. So we got a unique opportunity to have Aloe on here. Let him say it all. Whatever he has to say on here. You're true. Nothing is going to happen to you. It's just wishful thinking. And that's coming from Aloe. Aloe's a fairly intelligent guy. Yeah, he could be the evil gesture and all that stuff, but Aloe is probably amongst the more learned people on here. Compared to other people, he has quite a bit of intellect compared to most people on here. And like me, He'll say what's on his mind, and he's not worried about what people say about it. Well, I don't know really, Ala, what's happening with that. I really don't know. I honestly don't know. I think it's going to have a good outcome, but it's just a wait and see. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, what do you say? I respect the fact that you got shit done. You put Barry behind bars. Remember this, they said. Frank did not put Barry behind bars. Now they say, Frank, have mercy. It's one or the other, right, Aloe? Which is it with them, right? Let Barry go? Come on. Thanks for being honest. I appreciate that. You don't get too much honesty on here. Actually, I don't care if they let him go. But, okay, I'm going to ask you a question. They don't care what the community thinks about me. They know that. Let me ask you a question. The high roaders on here, and you know who they are. They're talking about free Barry J, free Barry J, free Barry J. But they don't want to put a dime out. In part because they don't want to see me get any money for the judgment on there. And they've been pushing this shit. Oh, it's, Barry spent enough time in jail, get him out. But they don't put their money where their mouth is. They hate you, that's, yeah. Well, yeah. Because anybody knows me for all these years, and you've been listening to me that long, you can make your own judgment on me, that's fine. But basically, whether they're trolls or not, they know whether I've actually done anything horrible in my life to somebody. They know I'm living a decent life. There's a lot of envy and jealousy, but Popeye will laugh and say, envy and jealousy. Popeye gets brave and he calls me a pedophile, but that's because he's 15,000 miles away. He would never say that to my face. Yet they used Barry to piss me off. They didn't have to do that. To piss me off? I know. Well, the show this morning was supposed to be about how we judge people. Should we judge people, and why? I started to kind of go on with that for a little bit. Like what people do, they have a harem or something. Well, I gave in and I said, it's their business. It always goes wrong. Having one woman is a challenge enough, but having more than one woman, that's a double challenge. And things happen, and they did happen, if you know what I'm talking about. You destroyed Barry, period. Well, I don't know if I want to call it destroy. I just felt I had to do something, and it wasn't overnight thinking. It wasn't just overnight that I had to make that decision to go the direction I did with him. It never stopped with him. It never stopped. He didn't learn. I mean, I'm happy with how it turned out with Barry, but we kind of planned it that way because, Aloe, this could have stretched on for another 2 years and cost me more money, more aggravation. And we put our heads together and said, look, we already presented the evidence, They said Barry's guilty. Barry's lawyer pretty much told him, plead guilty and the court will go easy on you. Okay? Well, it goes beyond that, really, because we figured this thing out, that if this thing was carried out, Aloe, all the way to the end, the judge could have done one of two things. He could have gave him fucking 10 years in prison, or he could have went the other way and just, not even a slap on the wrist, whatever, he'd send him home and get him deported. But we kind of sat down numerous times to figure this out, and we found that the best solution is let him plead guilty. Because, now he's a felon. I mean, he didn't kill anybody or anything. He's not like a really bad felon, but it's still a felony. He's never going to be able to come back in the Philippines again. So, yeah, there was some thinking that went on with this. Aloe says, look, there are more supporters out there than you think. It's just not something they would admit. I know that. Of course, it's not an in thing to appear pro-Frank. You know, I know exactly what you mean. Oh, I'm glad Popeye's trolls are, his troll family's listening to this. You got it down. Exactly. You got it down. Nobody wants to say that they support me because they're afraid of getting attacked by the other trolls. You're exactly right. There you go, Pops, Poops, from your friend Aloe. Oh, Popeye's going to definitely try to destroy you on this one. He does this famous, after the simulcast, he does this famous monologues. He doesn't want me to say soliloquy. And he doesn't know what to say half the time. He doesn't just keep on repeating some old hat and rehashing old hash. He doesn't know what to say anymore. He's gotten to that point where he's called me every name in the book. I think you know one thing about me. I generally do what I say I'm going to do. Popeye is, as I'm sure you know, a total fucking coward. He would never approach me. He'd never come to the Philippines. And he figures out he's 15,000 miles away. And one of his statements, I'll quote, "Frank ain't gonna do shit. You can't do shit, you fucking pedophile, blah, 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 blah." Ed Savino comes in. "Good morning, Frank. Did I hear right that you're going to drop Barry what he owes you if that certain somebody drops the complaint against you, if that's correct? Wow, you're a good man." I talked about it the other day. And I said that I would do him one good if his girlfriend would sign a formal affidavit addressed at my lawyer's office to the immigration department. Now, there's no guarantee that they would do it anyway. But in good faith, to just end all this shit, because it's affecting her. It's certainly affecting me. Get it over with. Get it done. Let people go on with their lives. Aloe says, "Nah, Frank, listen. Popeye is a guy who doesn't have the urge to travel anywhere anymore. The dude has been in the Navy, so you naturally lose the urge to travel, I would guess." Well, I think it's a little deeper than that. I do believe he has mobility issues, besides mental issues. He doesn't go anywhere. You don't talk about him, hey, he's going out with a friend to have a drink, have a coffee. You don't ever hear him leaving Florida. And the only places we know for sure that he goes is to a bingo hall and occasionally to a casino. Alice says, "They know that. It's all about getting even with you." See, truth comes out on here, folks. Things I've already known, but it's nice to have it backed up by Aloe, who's been pretty keen on everything that's been going on through the years. Aloe says, "He is a family guy, that's all I can say." Yeah, he sounds like a family guy. How does he treat his family? I don't know. I believe one thing, Aloe, for sure. One thing I believe in. What you do on YouTube and how you show all that hate is some kind of facet of a person's real personality. Because I used to wonder about you too. But then I changed my mind on that, because what you do pretty much is strictly for entertainment and to get reaction. But people like Popeye, who really doesn't have a life, and the guy hasn't been laid for how fucking long, and probably can't get laid, who doesn't have a social life other than his neighbors or people at the bingo parlor, he's belligerent because he's alone, other than his daughter and occasional neighbor he talks to or something like that. He doesn't do anything. Anyway, that's my assessment anyway. They make their own assessments, I'll make mine. A family guy, yeah. That's all he's got. He's lucky to have his daughter. And I'm sure they probably have a lot of fights too. I wouldn't be surprised. Because sometimes your YouTube personality leaches into your off YouTube. I mean, if you've been doing things hateful as Popeye's done and other people for so long, it has to be some part, a real part of their own demeanor, their personality. Alice says, look, Frank, Popeye doesn't like you and you don't like... Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. Yeah, you're right. You want to get down to the nitty-gritty of it, you're right. I don't like him, and he don't like me. But why does he have to feel that he has to push his hate on me all the time? Is he that bored with his life where he looks forward to when I do? I mean, bells must go off all over his house. He could be on the shitter, but when I do a live show, he'll get off in mid-shit, to go simulcast my show. Don't you think that's a little extreme? Aloe says, so we tend to interpret things or portray things to serve a certain narrative. There you go. Excellent. Couldn't put it better myself. Yeah. The narrative is that they want to give Frank shit. Here's the question. The golden question. What is the, let me see, how shall I state this? What is their purpose for being on the attack all the time? Is it because maybe they're not living the life I have? They don't have that steady woman that you said yourself. They all said it wouldn't last for 6 weeks and it'd be almost 10 years in February. Is there a jealousy factor going on here? The fact that I live a stable life. Oh, gives them a platform, yeah. Well, they got to talk about something on here, I know. What's this say? Oh, I believe he does that because there is a market out there for the anti-Frank haters, and he gives them a platform. Yeah. But I think it goes a little deeper than that. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think it goes a little bit deeper than that. He has a beef with me, okay? And he's trying to paint the picture that he's living a better life than me, but we all know he's not. Too many information, you know, there's a lot of information about Popeye out there. There's a lot of stuff he won't talk about, but the fact that he wouldn't even meet Nico, is afraid to show himself. Because he's not just ugly on the inside, he's ugly on the outside. He don't want to appear on camera. I don't put my personal life out there like you do, Frank. Let's see. Aloe says, I can only speculate on that, Frank, but I think somewhere in the past you said or did something that made them hate you. Oh, you mean like telling the truth? You mean that proverbial mirror that I put in front of people's faces and they got very defensive and offensive? Something like that? Well, they like to dish it out, Aloe, but they can't seem to take it, though. See, I've taken my lumps through the years. I've earned every fucking lump. But as I said, and I consistently say it on my shows, that you're responsible for the things you do. And if life doesn't turn out good for you, you know, it's what you wanted to do with your life. You want to be a hateful person or your life, that could leach into your personality, or it's actually the other way around. That is your personality, it just leaches onto your social media. According to how you want to look at it. Aloe says he's not living a bad life or out there, or like, okay. He is not living a bad life or so, just like you. You're living a stable life out there in Santa Fe. That's my honest opinion. I appreciate your opinion. But I don't know what he's trying to compensate for. He's certainly lacking, we all know, and it should go without saying. Because if that old coot was able to get a woman, he'd be boasting about it from here to kingdom come. And the other thing that's bothersome with him is that how he preaches about his religious beliefs and all that other stuff. He don't really preach about it, but he'll attack you if you don't have his beliefs. And he'll attack you if you don't have his political beliefs. He'll attack you if you don't, believe, if you don't feel that, for example, his serving in the Navy as a prime example. He's tried to portray himself as some kind of hero. He tried to portray himself. The one thing that bothers veterans and bothers me is the false valor. Popeye's never seen any action except around that round table in Subic where he got his dick sucked. He wound up marrying her. That's the only action he's seen. True that. Now let me ask you something. Ask. I'll tell you the truth. I'll answer you honestly. Just ask. I'll give you a chance to write. I'm not going to say nothing. Just finishing my tea here. All right. Well, Popeye is a bit old school when it comes to his politics and his time. Whoops, okay, I didn't get it all here. And his time in the Navy. But here is my question. In the epic battle, you versus Barry, why does the community, at least a majority of this community, still side with this creep Barry? That's a good question. Well, I think I could answer that, actually. There's logics involved here and logistics. Well, they know Barry's done everything he did. If you were with this person personally and talked about Barry, they would admit, they won't admit it on YouTube, but they know that he was the scourge of the community. They know what he's done with women, taking money off people, the whole thing. Everybody knows the story about that. But because I'm adverse with Barry, and keep in mind, and I'm answering your question, keep in mind that because they know I'm adverse with Barry, and they know he's as wrong as anybody could possibly be, his lifestyle and how he's treated people and taken money from people, lying, and the whole ball of wax. They act supportive of Barry just to kind of get my goat, is all it really is. Why do they hate you so much? I think I know why, but what's your view on that? Well, there's jealousy everywhere. Some people have not accomplished to live in the Philippines. They're living their life vicariously to others, and through me, certainly. I think they're either not at a point they could retire in the Philippines, or maybe they've been to the Philippines, it didn't work out because they're such crumb buns, or their personality is lacking, or they treat Filipinos like shit. But when they see somebody who actually has a stable life in the Philippines, they all know that. They all know. They on their own personal level off YouTube, they know I have a very loving relationship with my girlfriend. They know that, but they're not going to say that. They're not going to admit that because they've been giving in. Yeah. That's why. Oh, they'll say, oh, it's not your house. And, well, according to how you look at it, it's my house. I paid for it. I'm on the tax declaration. It's my house, too. And according to what your relationship is with your Filipino, she will either allow you or disallow you to have your say on that. If something came up and we broke up, I could turn around and say, okay, well, sell the house. We'll split it down the middle. If it came down to that, she probably would. She does appreciate the fact that we bought the house. And it wasn't a selfish thing at all. It was the most unselfish thing I've ever done in my life. It was to see that she had a future long after I'm dead, that she had a place to live. And if I didn't have a lot of money to give her at that time of my death, she would at least have something that she could hand down to her children too. And so it's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. I understand that, yeah. I am of the opinion that Gilda is very loyal to. Yes, she is. All the crap that comes out of Popeye's mouth. Yeah, she's fucking the Zumba instructor. Okay. Okay. But that's Popeye. Why do you think he's so goddamn hateful? It's not an act on here. The guy is a very bitter lemon. I mean, there's something going on with his life that's not right. I think we could pretty much assume that he probably hasn't been laid since he's been with his wife. And I don't gather him to be any kind of a playboy guy. Back in Subic Bay, yeah. But he's living in the past, which is part of his problem. Subic Bay and the Navy and all that shit was eons of time ago. It's time to live in the present, not the past. And he lives in the present. He lives in the past. Since we are talking about all these topics, does it bother you that they say that about Gilda? In the beginning it did. In the beginning it did, but it's so commonplace on here now. I know they're just trying to get my goat to get a reaction from me, but it hasn't been working real well with that. I've heard this shit so many times. The fact is, they know Gilda's a rather attractive woman. I certainly think she is anyway. Everybody has their own opinion, but, you know, there's nothing that bad wrong with my eyes. I might have the bad hearing, but nothing wrong with my eyes. She's my eye candy. She's my partner. I think she's attractive. She treats me fantastic. I treat her fantastic. Do we ever get into little biffs now and then? Sure we do. Sometimes you heard it on here, but that's about it. I get in a mood. I'm human. She gets in a mood or something. She might have been pissed off for me being on YouTube in the past. You probably heard that on a recording. Yeah, she doesn't really like me being on YouTube, but you know what? She still respects me. She says, well, whatever. If you feel that you must go on there, just try to, you know, stay out of all the bullshit. But the bullshit follows you. So she's very understanding of that. Let's see. Nah, there are some parallels here between you and Popeye. He is a bit like, I guess, he doesn't take shit from nobody. Well, neither do I. But, you know, I hear this crap all the time on here. It's like, you know, if you're used to having a cup of coffee in the morning, you're going to get up every morning and have a cup of coffee, like I have my tea, right? If you're used to hearing negative comments about you on YouTube, you just take it for granted. I mean, it's just going to happen. What are you going to do? You're going to run away? Have you ever known me to run away from YouTube? Despite, honest question, have you ever seen me give in to the adversity? Have you ever seen me get off YouTube because I couldn't handle the heat? How long have I been on YouTube? Long time. Put a statement on that one. I don't run away from it. I face the assholes. And I give them a taste of their own medicine. They don't like it. So that makes them even more mad. So they do more shows about me and say more hateful things about me. But hey, I've been on here how long? I'm used to that. It doesn't faze me as much as people think it does. What's that? I think Gilda does the YouTube thing with you because she sees it plays an important role in your life. No, well, I'll elaborate on that. She also knows that a lot of YouTubers, expats, you know, people that are living out here, they seem to need this Western type of contact, even if it's negative. I mean, because you're in a different country, and people that haven't moved to a different country don't realize what a big situation that is to live in a different country with a different culture and so forth. It's not an easy thing for a lot of people. Now, even though maybe you don't want to hang around, I've said this so many times, it's worth saying again, even though you don't want to hang around with expats, you still like to have an audience of people who are from the same culture you came from. It kind of balances things. I guess the best thing to say is it balances things out. That's the best way I can describe it. I think you could handle the heat, no question about that. But I also believe that there are times when you really get stressed out sometimes, but I don't think you would admit. No, I got stressed out more in the past, but I think it started when they would start attacking people in my family, which really have nothing to do with YouTube, and I thought that was unfair. But you know, what's fair on YouTube? Let's put it that way. There's nothing fair on YouTube. But over time, I figured, well, you're going to hear it over and over again. You could get stressed out over it, or you could just realize the source of where it's coming from. That's about it. I've gotten to that point where, of course, they're going to say something bad about her. Her pussy stretched out from having all these kids, all these nasty things that Popeye says. But Popeye understands one thing, and I meant it when I said it, and I'll say it out loud here. If I ever had the opportunity to be front in this guy, law or not, I'd beat the living snot out of him. It's one thing to entertain people on here, but don't bring on a consistent basis, talk about Gilda. When he knows damn well she's not only an attractive person, but she's a good person, and that she doesn't deserve any of that shit. They want to attack me, hey, I'll give you poetic license to do so. But don't attack people who are not part of my YouTube show. It's very rare that she says anything. It's very rare that I put her on camera. It's my YouTube channel, it's not hers. If she wanted a YouTube channel, she could have her own channel. Of course, I wouldn't advise that. She has no interest in doing that. But I think it's really unfair and unjustified to attack on a regular basis like that. Let me ask you, once this saga comes to an end, this Frank versus Barry issue, what's next on YouTube? What's the, I gotta scroll back down. What's the purpose of being on YouTube? Well, like I just said, it's a way of expressing yourself. It's a way of venting. It's a way of talking about life. You know, it's a way of also teaching people some things. I've done many things on here that are very positive. And people that admit it say, Frank, you know, I followed your advice on some stuff. I'm now doing this. I'm now taking this supplement, or I'm now watching this, or watching my weight. I've listened to what you had to say, blah, blah. I guess I'm going to read the comments. Peabots only says, Gilda's a beautiful woman. That photo you shared the other day is gorgeous. You're a lucky man. But that's part of it too, Aloe. Because they're jealous. Look, I tell you what. And I have seen, for those that do are regular posters on here, that have put their wives or girlfriends on camera. I'm going to tell you this. I have yet to see, well, that's nothing one. There's a really nice girl. It happens to be Slim's wife. She's attractive. She's a young thing. She's bubbly. She's very friendly. She's very nice. Of course, she's going along with Slim, you know, to get the gifts and everything else. We know that's pretty obvious, and to promote his show by him hanging around with young Filipinos and all that. But I have not seen, what I have seen, so-called the kind of women that these vloggers hang around with or in a relationship with. I'll just be very honest, I'm not impressed with what I see. Then I look at Gilda and I say, shit. And she's 50 years old. And they're all hanging with these young ones, but I've not yet ever found somebody on here that I could say that, man, he's got some damn good looking wife or something, or girlfriend. I haven't seen it so far. And my chick is an adult. She's 50 years old. She's not a 20-year-old. I don't have to rob the fucking cradle. I'm not trying to, like with an ego thing. That, look at this, I got somebody that's fucking 40, 50 years younger than me. Fuck no, I wouldn't want that. There's nothing in common at all. And there's sometimes me and Gilda have some, I don't think it's a word, uncommonalities, whatever. It's probably not even a word, but let's just call it that. But she's at least old enough that we can both relate to a lot of things. She's an adult. I don't want a little girl, and I'm not going to marry a little girl that maybe is of a mature age, but he looks like a little child. I couldn't deal with that. I couldn't deal with the comments. And we have a guy out there, kind of a hillbilly guy, that has a woman that looks like a small girl. But they gave this guy a lot of shit, and even I did, I admit it, that she can't be that age. It's impossible. But it is possible. But there's a stigma that goes along with this too, though. I mean, well, there's a, you know, you're going to get comments. When you got a woman that looks that young, like a little girl, and you're like all grizzly, you're all white-haired out and all that shit, and sees you, goes, oh, is that your granddaughter or something? Or is that a stepchild from a wife or something? Sure, they're going to make comments about that, and I can understand why. But I have no need to go with a woman that's, 30, 40 years younger than me. It doesn't make any fucking sense. But they're trying to just prove something to themselves that they still got it, but they don't got it. It's just that the women that they choose are in it strictly for the money. And they think they're studs. They think they're studs because they got this woman that's 30, 40 years younger than them. That's not the real picture. Let me read. So in other words, you use YouTube as a tool to connect to people. Sure. Alice says you're taking good care of. Yes, I am. She's my life, literally. I mean, she really is my life. And I'm going to tell you something too. Somebody tries to take that away from me. I think you know a lot about me, Aloe. There's consequences. Not physical, but there's consequences. As you know, somebody's trying to ruin my life with her. Trying to get me deported. Oh. You want to define the word livid? Talk to me sometime about livid. There'll be consequences for that. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Because you don't like me, you want to destroy my family? I mean, really? There's no call for that. There's absolutely no call for that at all. You're very passionate about what you do, and I like that. Believe me, there's always going to be consequences. To satisfy their fucking hatred, they want to see bad things happen to me. But Barry tried his hand with me and it didn't work. Right? And what makes it any different? That if his girlfriend, who put a complaint on me, totally planned, and with some outside sources from YouTube who financed her, who deny that they had anything to do with it, and I know who's involved, you really willing to try to destroy somebody's life because you want revenge? In Barry's case, it was not revenge. It was justice. I did you all a favor, not just for me. It had to do with me and Barry, but it was a lot deeper than that. A lot. It's not revenge. Someone might say, well, gee, you took revenge against Barry, so why can't his girlfriend take revenge against me? Well, she was pushed into this, first of all. It was not something that she wanted to get involved with. She was coerced. She was pushed into this. People came up with her with money. If you do this, I'll give you X amount of pesos. I know how it went down. It's easy to get enticed when it comes to money. I'm sure that's the way it went down. It's my opinion. And I'll stay with it. But if you think that somebody's going to make an effort to destroy my life and my family here, you got another thing coming. Because there will be repercussions that they're not going to like. And I'm not talking about threats. I'm not talking about physical. I'm not talking about anything like that at all. There will be legal grounds to do a case. Now, especially if immigration turns around and quashes the case. I could just say, okay, it's over with, let it be. I don't think I'm doing that. There has to be some justice of what she's doing to me. There has to be. Whether she was coerced into doing this or not, she was involved. She did it. Her signature on the paperwork to immigration. How do you look at that, Alan? Well, we don't know. What's that? Big Birch says, if you did consequences of Barry's girlfriend, do you think the community... I don't give a shit what the community think. Did I give a shit what the community thought when I got his fucking ass in jail for immigration overstay, when I got his ass in jail and kept him there, actually, for 5 counts of cyber libel, did I give a shit? Did I give a shit? No, I didn't give a shit what people think. I would have done it anyway. I don't care what people think. Aloe says, yeah, she is complicit. Yes, she absolutely is. Oh, I don't know where the complaints go on, but we'll handle it. You know, I like to finish business. But I'll tell you what, if you ever came down to something like that, well, we could talk a little about that. First of all, I never did anything that wrong, even if I really did everything she said. And as my lawyers even said, this is more of a civil matter than it is a deportation matter. It's not a deportation matter. Trying to label me as an undesirable, well, look at the chick's boyfriend. That's like, you know, highly defined as an undesirable. He deserved everything he got. No, I don't think anybody would question that. Well, not publicly on YouTube. They're not going to support me on that, but they know. They know the players, they know the game, and they know whether or not this guy deserved to get the punishment that he's getting. Mark Kelly said, you'll be fine, Frank. They would have acted by now if they want. Well, they could be over, you know, with all the pogo workers and all that shit. I don't know. See, I could tell you bullshit on here. I could talk bullshit all day long. And it's not going to amount to anything. I'm telling you like I see it. I have an open mind. It could go good, it could go bad. But either way, there's going to be legal consequences against her. I already talked to, the guy even has paperwork ready. I told him, let's wait and see what happens with this, and I'll make a decision on it. He's already been retained for that. That's on the side. Has nothing to do with Barry. He's already been retained for this. It's in his own escrow. It's already been retained. This is real. This is real. No bullshit, no lies. This is real. I'm ready for it. Another rice kitty. Because this is a serious matter, man. Trying to ruin somebody's character, trying to get him thrown out of a country and away from his family. They want to do, they figure, what is going to hurt Frank the most, right? Get him away from Gilda. I'll show him. I'll show him. That's the attitude. How would you like it happening to you? Well, in Barry's case, he ain't got no fucking family. He ain't got no fucking friends. If you want to call Brevis a friend, he ain't much of a friend at all. He doesn't have anybody. I have a family. I am settled down here in the Philippines. It's my home. And to try to take me away from my home, my girlfriend, you don't think I take this seriously? You're very wrong. There's going to be repercussions from this. There's no doubt about it. You're hearing me saying it publicly. There's going to be repercussions on this. Either way, whether they quash this thing or they don't. Because what she did was wrong, absolutely wrong and unnecessary. Even if she was enticed, I don't know everything. She could have, so keeping things legal on here, I'm just going to say that she could have possibly been enticed with money from people that do this. I want to keep it legal. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying that that's a possibility, and a very good one. I think you're absolutely right about Shaw. I think she is trash. Coming from Aloe's mouth. I mean, okay, turn the tables around, Aloe. You were a personality on YouTube, which you are, but on camera and all that. People know who you look up. They know where you live, all this other crap. Let's get that out of the way. And I know, I've heard you get mad on YouTube sometimes, and somebody was trying to attack your family. I remember that. Boy, you lashed out at them like holy fucking hell. So put yourself in my shoes, Aloe. What would you do in a situation like this? Honestly, what would you do? How would you feel about when somebody is trying to get you, let's say you're living in the Philippines, okay? You're grounded, you got your family, you got your wife or kids, whatever you have. You're not living in Switzerland, you're living in the Philippines. This is where you decided your life would be. If somebody just doesn't happen to like you, decides to try to get, what shall I call it, get even with you. Even with what, you know? Wouldn't you fight back? Wouldn't you fight back? What would you do? Would you do anything any different? That's a good question to ask you. What would you do? You gonna let it just go away? I don't think you're a person who lets something go away. Knowing you, I don't. When you concentrate on something, you go, you know, full Monty. Alice says, I would go all in, Frank, just like you did. Go all in on Barry. You know that. Yeah, of course. Yeah. You know, it's one thing to try to create a show where you're entertaining people, but, you know, do it in a positive way. You don't have to like anybody on YouTube. There's a number of people I don't like on here, actually. But I leave them alone. But it's just according to how far you go. That's the point I'm making. How far do you go to try to destroy somebody's life? They went all out. And what's the real reason? They couldn't even tell you the real reason. Because they want to be part of the big boys club. And they want to agree with everybody else just to get attention. Yeah, let's go after this guy. Let's see how far we can take it. They don't care about if you're hurting somebody's family, their relationship, their happiness of where they live. They don't care about that shit. Popeye has nothing to live for, so he's one of them for sure. He has absolutely nothing to live for in his life. So he doesn't want anybody else to be happy. It's called bitterness, being bitter. High roaders, Mark says. Yeah, they ain't high road. In their own mind, they're high roaders, but, you know, their wallet don't match their mouth sometimes, you know what I mean? Yeah. And why don't they help Barry? Quit all the bullshitting if you support Barry. But see, that's the thing. They don't support Barry. Big E, for example, is not going to admit it. He doesn't support Barry and what he's done. He knows exactly what he's done. But yet he's supporting Barry in the sense that tries to make it work against me. You know, oh, free Barry J, free Barry J. Where's the campaign gone? It's gone nowhere. I think if Big E and his associates really want to help Barry, then help him out. It's not like they don't have any money. They try to emphasize how rich they are. As I said, it's lint in their pocket. What Barry needs to get out of jail and go home. It's lint. Mark Kelly says they won't succeed. Oh, Aloe says they want to fuck with you, Frank, so they will use Shaw to accomplish it. Yeah, does she even realize she's being used as a pawn? Does she not realize that? Does she not realize the consequences she faces after this is over, according to what happens? I may decide to just let things go if they quash this. I may decide that, but I may not. I may not. I already got the paperwork ready. It's paid for. Might as well use it. Or I could say, fuck it. Let her be. Let her live her life. Let Barry go back to America and live his life. Of course, he's not going to have a great life because he gets himself into trouble all the time. He repeats. It's a repeated pattern of stupidity that gets him in trouble all the time. And some people can't stop doing that. Aloe says they do not support Barry. They do not know how to support him. It's all just blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I know that. Even all of Popeye's so-called supporters, they don't support Popeye. I said it before and I'll say it again, they're just laughing at Popeye. They know that how bitter Popeye is. That he has fucking purple balls he hasn't got laid. If it wasn't for his masturbation or attempts at masturbation, he would have no action at all. I'm not even sure he could achieve that, to be honest with you. Of course the guy's bitter. Of course he's a bitter lemon. He only wishes he had somebody like Gilda. He only wishes that he had a long-term relationship. He only wishes he has a companion in bed other than his fucking little bitch dog. Aloe says, Shaw is stupid. She probably thinks it's a way to prove her love to Barry, LOL. You know she is not that smart. Yeah. Well, she doesn't know what she's got herself into. And believe me when I tell you, man, she opened up that proverbial can of worms. And unfortunate for her, it may not turn out the way she wants it. They may quash this complaint. There may be repercussions after the decision is made on this. It's not necessarily ending right there, either way, positive or negative, on a resolution. Either way, it doesn't mean it's ending. That's something she's got to think about. And stop being influenced by these high rollers and shit and all these haters out there. Not to be influenced, because that influence is getting them into trouble. Let's not talk about Nika for a second. They tried to influence her. She didn't want. Don tried to offer her money and all this shit, pay for a lawyer, all this crap, and the lawyer even said, it's all bullshit. There's no evidence of him doing anything wrong with her at all. And there wasn't anything wrong. They got disappointed and made him even more bitter against me because, like with Don, it didn't work. It didn't work. He ate a lot of crow. So Don's upset about that. Oh, I can't let that happen. You know. And Nika didn't want to get involved with this shit. She was definitely coerced. There's no question about that. Definitely no question. In her situation, basically impoverished and being crippled, any kind of money or anything would help her life out, help with some of her expenses to go to the lab to get her lab tests done and to go to doctors and shit. Yeah, money can entice people, especially when you're in an unfortunate situation that she's in. It's a horrible situation she's in. She didn't want to get involved in it. She was so upset about this. Which way does my head turn? Do I turn toward these creeps and get some money? Or do I turn my head and just not get involved in this because I'm just too stressed? I got enough of my problems. My father died. Now her mother died. She's crippled for life. She has heart conditions going on. She didn't want to get involved with this. She's always had these problems. But money can be an enticing factor. You see Barry's going to... Oh, okay, let me read before that. I'm sorry, I'm not on my comments. Aloe says, the question is, why is this taking so long for the Immigration Department to come to a final conclusion? I have a partial answer to that, but I can't talk about it on here. I know, in part, why it's taking so long. I told you, I call it a Mexican standoff. That's all I could say. It's a Mexican standoff, you know what that is. And I can't talk about it on here. It could have some bad juju with me if I talk about this publicly. Yeah, there is a Mexican standoff going on. That's why. Nobody's paying immigration to hold a resolution. Nobody's paying immigration for that. As somebody said on there. No. I know what's going on. I know what's going on. But I'm not giving in. I know what's going on. But my lawyer's done what he needed to do. He's done what he needed to do. Because actually my constitutional rights, and I actually do, believe it or not, even though I'm a foreigner, we all have constitutional rights in this country, whether you're a resident here, whatever you are, and they're not allowing me my constitutional rights out here. That's for one I could talk about. Because there's no reason to let this thing lag that long. But I know the reason why it is, but there's still no reason to let it lag this long. It's like, shit. He basically gave a letter to them to basically say, to shit or get off the fucking pot. Make your decision, good or bad, make your decision. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, it could have negative, yeah. If I told you what's going on, it could. So that's why I can't. You've heard me talk about this before. I know my viewers did. I never reiterated. I never actually got into, because I can't. I know why they're holding it up. It's not because somebody's paying the immigration off to not make a resolution and make my life miserable. No, it's not that at all. I'm telling you that right now. It's coming from me. So, there you go. Well, I'm glad you came on, Aloe, and I'm glad you're being very honest about your feelings about all this. Because you got a big audience out there and you don't even know it. You got people on my show, and you got people. Oh, I got to give my water here. Okay, gentlemen. Alrighty. There we go. Well, we go to water around here, like water, you know. There we go. And one more.
6.
Okay. Salamat. Thank you. There we go. Take care of that. Where were we? Oh, you're also chatting on their channel too. You want to ask me something else? I am a beer guy. Do you like beer? Do you drink alcohol? No, I don't drink alcohol at all. The only alcohol that touches me is a form of hand sanitizer. No, I don't drink beer. Nothing. Neither does Gilda. We don't drink wine. We don't drink any of that. So you're also chatting on the other channel. What's going on with that? All I ask for you is to be fair about your opinions. Keep the facts. And don't try to impress any trolls on there. Just keep to the facts of how you be an impartial judge on this or something. And you stated your opinion on a few things on this show already. I thank you for that. And do you avoid all... No, I don't avoid alcohol for health reasons. Well, yes, actually. I mean, it's bad enough that I smoke. I don't want to have a drinking habit on top of that. I don't want double jeopardy. Bad enough I'm polluting my lungs, but I don't have to smoke to do that. Just live out here. You may be a non-smoker, but spend enough time in the Philippines, and your lungs are not, pretty and pink, No, I just don't like alcohol because I think, and the reason I'm so judgmental with people who drink is some of them just get belligerent and they can't control their alcohol. They act like total fucking idiots. I've been around bars, of course, had friends in Seattle. I used to go out on the weekends whenever I could. And I seen the way they act under alcohol, and I said, that's just not me. I used to have a couple of beers sometimes, or maybe a rum and coke. That was it. Then it got to a point, I got in my car, and remember, I'm raising a child, and she was old enough to be, running the house by herself. And I got in the car, and I didn't realize how fucked up I was. So I got behind the wheel, Al. I said, oh shit. Well, I'm saying to myself, maintain, Frank, maintain. You gotta get home. Don't want to be caught drunk. I mean, you're raising a child on your own, which is an unusual situation for a man to have custody of a female child. Don't fuck up. Drive home slowly, carefully. And I realized how fucked up I was. I didn't realize. And that was a night, an unusual night, where I had about 5 beers and a rum and coke. And I don't drink much at that time. A lot of times I order a ginger ale or something. But, your peers and all that. Come on, loosen up, Frank. Have a couple of beers. Hey, I'll buy you a beer. Open up a beer for me. But I realized that I could have been in an accident. I could have been arrested. There could have been an issue of raising my child if I'm going out drunk, driving drunk, and I get arrested. That was it. Anytime I went out afterwards, it was a cranberry juice or a ginger ale or something like that. I never had a habit of drinking, nothing like that. Just that I had to be responsible. You don't smoke, but you like a good beer. Yeah, some people like a good beer, but it's only how much you drink, really. It's a preference, personal preference, but yeah. Now, I don't get belligerent with alcohol. I just love to drink a good beer. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people smoke a pipe, Maybe it's an oral fixation or something. Cigarettes are also such to people too. But I figured I don't need another vice. I don't need another vice. And I don't like alcohol anyway. I never did, really. I never really liked the taste of beer. The only time I ever really let loose with drinking was it was a Halloween party. And some chick I met, and I hung around her all fucking night. And this is when I really let loose. I mean, I was literally not fucking dancing all night. Had my little hat on. I don't know what I was trying to be for Halloween. But this one chick I was with, yeah, I wound up getting laid at the end of the night, but I was dancing all night. And for me, that's not normal. I mean, for I don't know how many hours. And the beer, they had a keg, the beer was going down like water at that point. I said, holy shit, did I drink that much? I'm surprised I was able to get it up at the end of the night to even have sex with this woman. I'll tell you the truth, but, well, it all worked. The plumbing was fine. But that's the only time I ever really let loose with drinking. Of course, it was only beer. I didn't drink any hard stuff or nothing, but that was the one night that I really let loose, let my inhibitions go, and I just drank all night. The beer went down like fucking water. It went down like water. That's about it for my so-called drinking career. Let's see, I'm not reading. Mad Max. You vlog your life and then you can end up in a vlog war or calling each other names. Do you trust your supporters? They want you broke for a half-baked cause. Oh, I realize that, man. I don't trust all my supporters. Yeah, I know they're trolls. A lot of regulars come on here and I know they're trolls, but if they're not causing trouble, like I know Jerry comes on under a different name and all that, you know. I know this stuff. And let me go down, lots of comments here. Ed Savino says, Frank, watch what you're saying because the other place is saying that you're drinking and driving with a kid. Of course they're going to say that. I'm drinking, driving with a kid in the car, but there's never a kid in my car if I ever went out and had a couple of beers back in the day. Never. Never. That's just trolls talking. I never drank with a kid in the car. Nor would I do that. Aloe says, the only hard stuff I like is gin. Oh, you get along with Popeye then. Bombay Sapphire, that's it. Not a whiskey or a scotch guy. Oh God, I did taste scotch once. That's horrible, man. I've tasted it. Ooh, man. I don't know about gin. I never had gin. But I've tasted a scotch and I said, man, how could people drink that fucking diesel fuel? Horrible. Really horrible. So basically, I'm not a drinker. Not because I ever have a habit drinking. I never had a habit drinking. I used to go out maybe every other weekend. It's a group of people we used to go out with in Seattle when they were available all together to come out. We'd have fun, dance a little bit, pick up some ladies. You know, the situation was right. Sowing my oats. I was single. I did very well with myself. Thank you very much. And I don't regret it. Unlike Popeye, whose only woman was the woman he married, that he met at a round table where he was getting his dick sucked. I've had a lot of women in my life, and I'm not boasting about it. I'm just saying that I did. Good for me, right? Well, it was good for me. I was single. I could do whatever the hell I wanted. Tequila, I don't like it. Gin is good. Just mix it in. Gin tonic, easy to drink with a slice of lemon. Yeah, I'm just not a drinker. I got some bottles of wine here that we don't even drink. Prove it. No. Got a few bottles of wine in here. We don't drink. It's for guests or somebody, you know. I don't drink it. It's been laying there for I don't know how fucking long. I don't even know if it's any good anymore. I don't touch liquor. I don't need to. I have no inclination to want to drink at all. It's not my thing. It might be somebody else's, but it's not my thing. And it's by choice. Not because I have to stop, because I've ever had a habit of drinking. I never had a habit of drinking. I just don't like also the way people behave when they're drinking. They can't hold their liquor, man. How they make fools of themselves, and they get into trouble, they get into fights. If you're going to hang around bars, and the other thing is, you come to this country. I mean, you could drink in your own country. You could chase ass in your own country, right? But you're going to pay all that money to come here, airfare, food, lodging, everything else, to go do something that you would already do it in your own country. Don't make any sense. You mean you can't get laid in your own country? You're doing something awfully wrong, Jack. That's what I say to that. You got to come all the way to the Philippines to get laid? What kind of life are you living? What kind of a moron are you? What kind of a desperado are you that you have to spend all that money to come here just to get fucking laid? Pardon me, I gotta make my famous oatmeal. That's right, oatmeal. You know the routine. The only thing they don't know is when I wipe my ass or how much tissue I use. Inquiring minds need to know. What about wine? No, I just said about wine, no. And by the way, my father never drank. They were pushing around this one photo in the past. My father's holding a glass of wine. That was a one rare situation. My father had a glass of wine. My father didn't drink at all, not even beer. And he'd drink one beer, he'd be slopped over if he drank even one beer, even one glass of wine. Italian or not, my father was not into drinking at all, neither was my mother, and neither was I. Even back in the heyday of high school and all that shit, I never drank. In college, I never drank. And the only time I drank at college was actually, SVA was having some event there, and it had wine and cheese. So I finished the class, I decided to go in there, see what's going on. I had a simple glass of white wine. A simple glass of white wine. I finished it. And holy shit, I was dizzy. And I'm thinking, oh fuck, how am I gonna get home? One glass of fucking wine, mind you, goes to prove that I was not a drinker. I said, fuck, I wish I didn't have that. I better put something in my stomach, so I got some cheese in there, Yeah, one time over there, back in SVA, School of Visual Arts, and had an event going. Thought I'd take advantage of it, and, well, I was sorry I did. One fucking glass of wine, a good stiff glass of wine could... It's like being punch drunk, Yeah, I know of Italian descent, Hector, but doesn't mean I drink wine, It's not a, what do you call? It's not a prerequisite being Italian that you drink or drink wine. Although a lot of Italians do drink wine. You'd be absolutely correct on that. That's pretty common. I'm just one of these unusual guys. I just don't drink wine. Oh, been on here almost 2 hours. Yeah, I'm just going to make some oatmeal and eat something here, man, and then have maybe something after that, too, for protein or something. Sometimes I have 2 meals, really, in the morning. I'll have my oatmeal for the fiber and all that great stuff, and heart healthy and all that shit. And then maybe I'll make a couple of eggs to get some protein or something. Sometimes I'll just take a couple of scoops of peanut butter for the protein. I do that during the day, too. I control a lot of things I eat. And I do it pretty well, actually. Thank you very much. Hell, I could eat a can of fucking beans for breakfast. Kidney beans, my favorite. Lentils are actually my favorite, but I have no lentils. You can't buy them locally here. You have to go down to Cebu or order it on Lasada. Every couple of weeks, I would eat lentils. I'd make a lot of it so it's left over the next day. If I was hungry, I'd have some lentils. Of course, I'd season them up. But lentils are really good for you. Iron, protein, fiber, and all that stuff. Well, we're not going to turn this into a health show, but basically you get the picture. I can't be like everybody else, and I don't want to be like everybody else. That's the bottom line. I mean, if drinking is your thing, that's your thing. You know, I'm not going to argue about it. It's just really not mine. It's just a choice that I make in life. Too many accidents happen with people behind the wheel. Families get killed. I had a co-worker. Well, she wasn't drinking as far as I know, but I talked about this years ago. I had a co-worker who was from Bulgaria. He was from Bulgaria. And he had a family, a couple of kids, a wife, I think 3 kids. And he decided he'd go to the park, but he didn't use his nice car. He used his junker instead for whatever reason, I don't know. So what happened was he was on Highway 99 in the Everett area. And Highway 99 is a main highway, it goes up all the way to Canada, I guess, all the way down to California or something, I think. But he's coming back from a park, and there was kind of something going a little bit array with the car. So he stopped off on the shoulder of the road, right? Hold on, I gotta carry this thing. So there's this woman driving a fancy SUV, and her husband happened to be a cop, in fact. That's pretty critical to the story, actually, in part. She's on the fucking cell phone. It was proven because they got her phone and see at that time she was talking on the fucking cell phone like a lot of women do when they're driving. A lot of people do. Wasn't watching she was going. She went at a pretty good speed. Rear-ended this guy's car. Catastrophic. The car caught on fire. The kid's burned alive. He got burnt on the majority of his body. He survived for a short while. He was in the hospital. He was all burnt up, but he succumbed to his injuries, and he died. All because this stupid bitch was talking on her cell phone. She destroyed a whole family. He worked for the Parks Department. He was hoping to get in there permanent, to start a life for his family, to support them and provide for them. But somebody ended his life and his whole fucking family. I feel the same way about alcohol and all the accidents that happen because of alcohol. It's the same shit. So I'm not an advocate for drinking. I don't support people who do drink. It's your choice, it's not mine. But you have to exercise some sense of responsibility. You get behind a car. If you're going to hang around a bar in the Philippines, you're going to be around other seedy people. Something's going to be said. You're going to look at their woman, or they're going to look at yours, and there's going to be a fight. Someone could wind up dead. And believe me, I've seen things at one of the places I used to go in Seattle. What happened in the bar and what happened in the parking lot. Not pleasant. Oh, because somebody couldn't hold their liquor. Then maybe the inhibitions went to a great length. Just went a little bit too far. And you get cocky when you drink. And you think you're a hero. It doesn't always turn out that way. You get your ass beat up. Or you do something stupid that'll end your own life. When you flirt with somebody's woman, that always gets you in trouble. Barry knows that one. How many times that probably happened? After all, he got a fucking bottle or something busted over his fucking skull. Very deserving. Of course, he blamed it on me, of course. I was nowhere near there. And I wouldn't do that. Because I'm smarter than Barry. Obviously so. Okay. Aloe, anything you want to add to this? If you had to sum all this up in one statement, what would you have to say? Are you still talking over there on Popeye's show? Well, his big monologue is coming up. You can't miss that. You'd be missing so much. You'd be missing anything. Same old rhetoric, just another day. Okay, we've been on here for 2 hours. I'm going to finish my oatmeal, go do my exercise. Catch you on the next show, if and when. But you know what? I'm glad you had to say what you did, Alan. It just cements pretty much everything that's been going on. I'm no villain after all, am I? But Popeye would like to see it that way. I'll say the same thing to you, Popeye. Get even a resemblance of a life.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's 6, 7 other charges going on. That is our small business here. We are charging a whopping, you guys ready for this? A whopping 10 pesos per phone to charge. Do you think we're going to get rich off of this new business adventure, Kyoki?
No.
Why not?
The money we will earn, I will buy it my snacks.
Wow! Wow! Holy cow! Do you think we're going to make enough to where Tito can quit doing YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right, close that door. It's too loud. Too loud. We got to close that door. The generator's cranking out there. Yeah, we are ongoing. We'll be 24 hours here real soon. That we are in this brownout here. Good investment. Good investment. But yeah, that's what do you think?
Kids never, call me, say hi anymore. This anchor point that Ricky Drama might be on. Dude, you know what's funny? This Ricky Drama. Come on, you guys. Ricky Drama.
Well, boys and girls. Good evening, Mike. Okay. Just had my lovely roasted chicken and roasted potatoes again. Becoming a commonplace around here. Stranger Things, Netflix, Stranger Things. I started watching that series. It's kind of interesting. I thought I saw the last one, but then... Oh, it must be the beginning of that again. I was trying to find something to watch earlier. Roids and asteroids. Roids and asteroids. I don't know, man. Let this be a lesson in life. There are things that are good for you, and there's, there's things not good for any one of us, including me. Observation, critique, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. You could be living the good life like Nico. He's living the great life. Not. But anyway. My observation, it's an observation, that's all it is. Don't jump on me. I'm not attacking him. It's an observation. Jim of Asian Adventures with Jim claims that he's 54 years old. I did a short. That's really a clip of his video without his hat on. I entitled it 54 going on 68. Now, I'll tell you what. Well, we're going camera tomorrow. I don't feel like going on camera tonight, but most of you have seen me anyway. I'm 71. Yeah, you got it right. I'm 71. And I look a hell of a lot better. I mean, 3 times over Jim at 54. Now, this is a lesson what these steroids will do to you. And combined with alcohol, well, what good is the muscle if you're going to die young? What good is muscle if you're going to drink, 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 drink? Yeah. I'm just saying, that's all. You know, don't jump on me in case you're a fan of his or something, or just don't like me. But it's an observation I made a long time, well, not terribly long. I never came into Jim's channel until maybe, I don't know, it was a couple of months ago maybe? Or something like that, I don't know. I don't recall, but... And I was really surprised to hear that he said he was 54 years old. Here he is flashing his, you know, his mail order steroids, you know. His false muscle, and so proud of it. I don't know, man. I don't got much muscle, but the little bit I got, I mean, I'm proud of it. I don't take no fucking steroids or shit. I do light weights. I don't do the shit he does. I'm a bit older, a bit wiser, actually. But I get it the natural way. No steroids. Yeah, he loves himself to death. I'm not sure why. It's just a facade, really. I think he's just a lonely, aging man. My opinion, okay? A lonely, aging man. 60 plus. Well, yeah, I said 68, but yeah. Well, especially if he takes his hat off. You go see my short on there. You'll have a better look. Now, I don't know how many people of you have seen me on camera. I do get on. I'm not on right now, but I think you'll have an idea what I look like. I mean, if you know, cancel out the edited version of me that the trolls put on in their channels, like I'm 90 years old or something. But most of you, I think, have seen me. I've got nothing to hide. But oh, let's see, what else is going on, man? A little bit out of the loop. A little bit out of the loop. Oh yeah, Popeye, of course, did his show this morning, of course, and it was the same rhetoric. Pulled up some videos from the past that were all edited and so forth, and well, that's what happens when you run out of material, because I don't say much on my shows lately that anybody could construe as being violent or hateful. Just the truth, and nothing but the truth, Your Honor. Frank, your complexion looks a lot younger than Jim. Yeah, it does. And that's without rubbing my knuckles against my chest. No, it does. I'm not 20 years old anymore, dude. That's a half a century ago. God, I can't believe I'm saying that. 20 years? A half a century ago? Like, what? What? You fucking kidding me, man? No, man, Mother Nature, you know, I mean, time goes by fast, man. It really does. God, you think I could believe what age I'm at? I don't know. I have no whatever of time. I have no recollection of all these years going by. I mean, so fast. I mean, it is what it is. You don't get younger as you get older. You get older, you know. But there's nothing I could help. I could do my best. There's things I can do that help, but not everybody does the things I do. And it has helped. I will tell you that. It has helped. You know, people make fun of me for 40 years, taking certain supplements and vitamins I take. They're all geared for a particular reason why I take anything. And so far, I'm still alive. I've held out pretty damn well for my age. So yeah, I did something right. Maybe it's the glue, those supplements and diet, you know, that's holding me together. Perhaps, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. But man, you know, the only thing I'd ever consider taking would be, what do you call that shit? It really helps as you get older too, in muscles and everything else. And what the hell is that shit? The weather is quite delightful. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Anyway, no, steroids, man. You got to stay away from that shit. Has anybody learned yet? The wrestlers, the martial artists, other athletes, football players, and so on and so on. Maybe even some actors or something. I think some of them might be thrown in there. I'm not sure. Well, why do you think The Rock, went and stopped taking the steroids and lost all that weight? He claims that is for the role. I don't know who's buying that shit, but I'm not. He saw people dying left and right from taking steroids, and he's been taking them the best of his life. And he stopped taking them at the advice of his doctor, and through the knowledge of so many people he's known in the industry, wrestling and so forth, and all the way down the line, that were all having heart attacks. And what was something that they had in common? Well, they took steroids. There you go. There you go. I don't need that shit. I don't need that shit. Now, testosterone, I think we could all use that, but testosterone could fuck with you too. And if you have any kind of, you may not even know you have a heart problem. That could fuck with your heart too. Testosterone therapy, I think you really got to take that under the guidance of somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, a physician, someone that's very versed in that kind of stuff. And a lot of doctors are not, but I think if you would experiment, testosterone can give you like extra energy and spunk and all that stuff. Because by the time you're my age, you lost most of it. And that's true. That's just the way it is. After a certain age, you're losing like 2% per year or something like that. The margin gets wider and wider, and next thing you know, you're out of testosterone, Jack. Yeah. Boy, Dexel's doing shows constantly. She's trying to raise some money. Is she monetized or something? Or she's trying to be? Jim's wife in the Philippines. She's on. Well, I'm on a lot, but I'm not monetized either. I'm not trying to be. She's on all the time. And I guess she's trying to make people feel sorry for that Jim is not there and buying the food and stuff like that. I don't know. VFW, I bet 1,000,000 times better care and feedback explaining to ChatGPT what my ailments are better than a doctor could. GPT is not always right. Their databases, it's got to be updated a lot. They're not always right. I've got a lot of good information from Chat. I use it every single day. There's not a day I don't use it for something. And yes, I use it, excuse the expression from me, but I use it religiously. Well, doctors are really not trained in nutrition and stuff like that. They're really not. They get very little teachings on nutrition. That's why it's better if a doctor would also take nutrition, because they're too busy pushing big pharma's pharmaceuticals and helping the industry, become trillionaires. And sometimes they're giving medicine you don't need, like metformin that you take for, for diabetes. That could hurt you. There's other ways of lowering your, you want to talk about your glucose level, your insulin. There are other things you can do. This metformin could fuck you up. Isn't that what it is? Yeah, metformin for diabetes. And people are hurting themselves. And for cholesterol, they're having people take all kinds of shit. Statin drugs. And statins will fuck you up too. There's not much that doesn't fuck you up in one way or another. There really isn't. 32. No, I don't have 55 people here. I don't know. I could sit there for days going back and forth, pinpointing problems or cures. A doctor takes weeks appointments for 3-minute chat. You're right, man. You're absolutely right. I don't have 55 viewers. That's crazy. I haven't had 55 viewers in a long time. Anyway, multiple accounts, I guess, yeah. But yeah, I mean, talk to a doctor. They do know medicine. They may not know a lot of nutrition, but at least listen to the medical advice on there, because they actually might find a doctor that's actually right. Believe it or not, there's a few out there, even out here, you know. But if you're dealing with a specific problem, you see a specific type of person whose specialty is in that field. You have kidney problems, see a nephrologist or something, okay? You got arthritis, I don't know, fuck the chiropractor, see a specialist in that. You got heart problems, see a heart doctor. Never mind going to a 400 peso GP, general practitioner, that Fazio used to go to, and, thought he'd solve all his problems with that. You can't cheap out when it comes to your health like that. W says, I was having urinary issues that were scaring the hell out of me. Chat pinpointed it to a simple bladder irritation. I'm already on the mend now. What kind of a bladder irritation? Well, I had kidney stone, bad. And I think the process of them using what's it called, litropsy, which is this vibrating machine that like a fucking jackhammer that breaks up all the stone into small pieces that could be hopefully passed out, right? Now the sucker was right in my urethra. 9mm, baby. Okay? And when they busted that shit out, I'm thinking, my theory is that there's a stricture in there that caused, I've had, let's see, 2 infections in 6 months, which is very unusual for a male especially. And it all has to do with that shit. It all has to do with that. Man, God bless. You know about that, right? You'd have to listen to my shows. You'd have to listen to my shows to know what I went through with that. I don't even want to talk about it. I had a stent in there for 3-4 months. Ever see what a stent looks like? Fucker's about 11 inches long. They stick it in your penis all the way up to your kidney. It's like a wire with hooks on the end that helps keep your urethra open, so there's a free flow of urine and no blockage of any residual stones. Fuck, brother. I had to wear that thing. It was at least 3 months. 3 months. God, I couldn't wait. I even showed it. I don't know where it is now. I even showed it on it one time about a year ago on my show. That was not comfortable. And what would happen is, talk about pain. I would, because the stent was in there, now listen to this. When you go to urinate, first of all, you're still irritated from them fucking around with you in there, right? Okay. Invasive type of shit. But when you have a stent in you there, you go to take a piss, because it's basically, it's blocking some of that urine. Here's what happens. Get a picture of this. The urine, when you're trying to pee, backs up back into your kidneys. Then you get intense pain while you're urinating, because you don't want the urine to go flush back into your kidneys. You could cause damage. For all I know, I could. And you'll feel it on both sides where your kidneys are. I couldn't wait to get that stent out, man. Was the pain in the lower back or in the front lower abdomen? No, it was in the, what do you call it, the flanks. It's on your sides, towards your back, and man, you'd feel it. Just taking a leak. Of course, when I got the stent taken out and I took my first piss without it, was all blood coming out because of all the shit that was in the urethra. Am I making you sick? I hope you didn't eat dinner yet. Yeah. 42 fucking watching here. Jesus. 45 watching. Jesus. Joseph and Mary. Yeah, I tell you, man. I'm trying to drink a lot of water, and I put lemon juice in my tea every morning to try to prevent, but there's certain foods that could cause that too, Vitamin C could, I still take that every day, but there's other things that could cause stones. I had it twice, so basically, shitload of years ago when I was living in Seattle, And then about a year ago, has it been a year now? Wow, time goes by. Maybe about a year now? And this was the big boy. But I had pain too. I was living in Seattle at the time. I had such pain, I couldn't figure it was comfortable. I couldn't lay down, I couldn't get comfortable. I called up my daughter. And, man, I'm in a lot of pain, man. I gotta go to the hospital. What's wrong? What's wrong? You know? When she gave a shit about me back then, you know. And I said, be all right, I'm gonna drive myself to Northwest Hospital. And I did. I don't know what they did, but they gave something that, I don't know, man, it knocked me out. Because it was like, you know, overnight. There wasn't light out yet. It wasn't, it wasn't dawn. I woke up at dawn. So, I don't know, they gave me something to knock me out and something like potassium, something to help, get the stone flowing. I wind up pissing, and I did see a stone come out. One little tiny stone could cause all that pain. Tiny one. But remember, I had a 9mm, baby. 9mm. That's like having an overweight, chubby baby coming out of the size of a bowling ball coming out of a woman's woohoo, you know. You figure that out, yeah. My issue is front. Well, you know, you could still feel it in the front. I mean, your kidney's involved. I mean, your bladder's involved too. I mean, your bladder. So yeah, you could probably feel it. It's possible. Don't cost that much. Why don't you just go for an ultrasound and have them check it all out. Right away, doctors are going to say, oh, yeah, he's just got a UTI. But it actually could be, and listen to me, I went through all this shit. It could be more than that. You could have some stones in there in your kidneys or urethra, whatever. You might have an overactive bladder. You know, there's a lot of things that could be going on. Could be some obstruction that's causing the infection like I had. The reason I had an infection was because there was an obstruction. Oh, that's crazy, all right, man. You need to be so health conscious of health as you get older. Your quality of life is cooked. Yeah, believe me, I know. Still, we got 41 people at 45. What the fuck? Not complaining here. Oh, I talk about these things now and then. I don't make money on my show. It's free advice. I'm no medical professional, nothing like that. Disclaimer, But, I do read a lot about stuff like this. So, I can kind of share it with my audience. And if I've actually had an experience of some of the things I talk about, I will talk about that too. Just to give you an idea what it's like. It's not pleasant because I had to go in the ER twice. The first time it was exploratory. He didn't get shit done. He went in there, looked around. He found a stone, but it was all the way up the urethra, and he couldn't get it with his little endoscopic device with the claws on it, whatever. It was too far up. So all he did, it cost me a fortune, was just to go in there. So then I think he put the stent in right after that. Did he put the stent in after the first time I went in the OR? Or was it after the lithotripsy? No, that was before. And I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Gandhi?
I forget.
I didn't forget it, I'll tell you that. You forgot it, but I didn't forget it. Well, anyway, having that stent in there was no fucking picnic on the beach, I'll tell you that. Hell no. I don't want to go through it again. Oh, you'll know if you have something, if it gets real bad, you'll know because you'll probably either faint from pain, you'll probably have sweat coming down your forehead, your whole body's going to go into a sweat, and the pain is going to be so unbearable that you might faint, and I came pretty close to that. I was in Cebu at the time at a condo, and I think the whole idea, why was I there when it happened? Did we go to Cebu for the purposeful reason of going to get it checked out? Why were we in Cebu at that time? Remember when I was in the room?
You know what? Because you got already pain from here.
Okay, I had pain,
Yeah,
so we went to Cebu, and we were in the condo. We were going to go the next day or something to have it checked out or something?
No, we straight away there, straight away to the Socorro.
All right, so we went purposely to go stay in Cebu, the condo, for the purpose of getting it checked out, right? But during the time it was at the condo,
No,
They couldn't
We
see us.
straight
Listen,
away from here. We straight away to Socorro.
from, oh, we went straight
Yeah, we went
from
straight,
here
yeah,
to Cebu to the
Socorro.
Socorro Hospital. Okay. But wait a minute, it happened in my room. I wasn't at Socorro.
After that one, we already there in Socorro. You don't want to. We don't have no, we don't have the vacant room.
Oh, they didn't have a vacant
Yeah, so
room.
that's why we go back to the.
And oh, that's right. They were going to call us when to come in. But while I was waiting at the condo that we were renting to be in Cebu as a place to stay, we were waiting actually for them to call us and say, okay, we got a, time went by. I said,
Because
fuck
the
it,
doctor said
I'm going down there.
we just stay there in the Socorro until the room's vacant.
Yeah, they wanted me to just stay in
But
Socorro
you
and hang
don't-
out
but
for
you
like
don't
fucking
want
6
to go
hours
back
or
to
something.
the
No,
room.
I have no patience, right?
So
So I
that's
went
why
back.
in the around 11 or 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock or something. I went in there. 1 o'clock. That's yeah, Socorro Hospital. They said, well, yeah, wait till the bed. There was no beds open. Otherwise, I was going to be on a stretcher
Not beds.
in the hallway.
No,
Oh,
no vacant bed. No vacant room.
well, isn't that what I just said?
No.
Did I just say I was in the hallway on a stretcher because they didn't have a vacant room?
We don't have vacant room.
Isn't that what I just said? What's your interpretation of what I just said?
So
I just said that there were no rooms. They had me in the hallway on a foldable, stretcher bed.
no,
What do you mean no? I was on it.
you're there in the emergency room.
Yeah, I was in the emergency room in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But in the, if you
Hello,
admitted-
kitty. Yeah.
If you admitted, you have room, but that time you cannot admit it because no vacant room.
Yeah, they couldn't admit me because there was no vacancy for a room. So we did wind up getting a private room, paid dearly for it. And that was good, but if I ever have to go in there next time, fuck that, I don't need a private room. Get a semi-private. The only reason I wanted a private because I was going to sneak a smoke in the bathroom. And I wanted to be courtesy to anybody that might have been in the room. There is some courtesy that I do. They knew I smoked in there. They might have said something about it. They knew. I had all this fucking glaze spray and all this shit in the bathroom, but it didn't work, And the air conditioner room didn't really suck it up and all that. But, I did what I did, whatever. Because, I figure if I'm going to be in that room for a long time, I'm bored out of my freaking mind. I don't know what to do. I'm upset. I'm nervous. Fuck yeah, I'm going to go grab a smoke. Damn. If I was a fucking alcoholic, I'd be drinking some fucking Jim Beam or some crap or whatever. Shit. Whatever your vice is, But anyway, they got me a room and put a fucking catheter on me, which I hated. And they'd come in all night long to take my blood pressure. And they charge you every single time they come in to take it. Nothing wrong with my fucking blood pressure, It's just nothing. But that's how the hospital makes money. Then they had another lady who was not my doctor, but she was a nephrologist, but she would come in to check and go, okay, see how things are going. What did that cost us for her to just walk in the room once or twice? They know how to get you there, man. They know how to get you. So, dude, you're talking about your urine shit. I'm sorry, but I'm giving you the long form that I'm known for, and I hope you learned something from it. That's the whole idea. Hey, man, I'm here to help. I'm here to help. What I'm saying is that you don't want to go to anybody. 45 people listening out there. You should always open up your piggy bank, go and get an ultrasound, which will cover all your area of the prostate, your bladder, your urethra, and your kidneys. Believe me, I tell you with no exaggeration at all, you don't want no kidney stones. Trust me on that. It's one on the list of the worst pains other than sciatica or bone cancer or anything like that. Take it from somebody that's been there twice. Fortunately, the first time that ever happened, I didn't have to have anything done. I basically pissed out a little bit of stone, and that was it. And we're talking 20 years later, whatever it is, I got another stone, which is the one I'm talking about now, that I had, right? Wow, we got 45 strong, but I don't see a lot of thumbs up here, my friends. What the hell, man? Let's be a little generous tonight. Be a little bit generous. Christmas season, for God's sakes. 46, but I'm not buying it. I don't usually get 46 viewers tonight. Maybe it's an extra boring night or something. I don't know. It is December. We're approaching a brand new year, 2026. 50. Now I got 50. If you're alive, be happy. A lot of people don't live to your age, whatever you might be. And by the way, the last thing on the kidney shit. Yeah, you don't want to get a bad kidney infection, all that crap, because you could die from that shit. If you mess up your kidneys, you don't want to be on dialysis, like stage 4. You're dying, And who the hell's going to pay a lot of money to go in 2-3 times a week to get dialysis? Fuck that shit. Man. That's why it's scary living out here. You got to keep a certain amount in the bank for when shit like this comes up, But even that sometimes is not good enough. 65, my ass. I don't got 65 people. Someone's buying views on here. I never in any good day get 65 viewers on my show. It ain't happening. It's just not happening, Or nobody's on and everybody's coming here. They see I'm on live, But I already see 3 thumbs up out of 65 people. Come on, give me a break. Somebody's actually buying views on here for me. I'm certainly not. I'm not going to waste my money on that shit. I figure whoever comes to my channel comes to my channel. The weather is so delightful. I don't think I'll ever see snow again. At least I don't think I will. Not in my lifetime. I didn't mind the snow in the places I've lived, but, I experienced some pretty heavy-duty snowfalls, both growing up in New York, then living in Seattle. I've seen big snowstorms, 14 inches plus. Couldn't even get my 4x4 out of the driveway. It's fun for a while, and may not have to go to work because you can't work on a job because I work outdoors, drive a truck and do stuff for the Parks Department I was doing at the time. And you probably get paid for it too. I think I did. So I didn't mind that. But then even the kids get tired of it, You feel kind of trapped is what happens. You feel trapped. Because you can't even go to the damn fucking grocery store. And where I lived in Seattle at the time, I had a home there. It's an incline to get up to a road. Then another incline to get to the main artery. Then get to another. Then you have to go up this incline in the ice and snow. It wasn't worth it. I mean, we were basically snowed in. Yeah. 72 my ass. Someone's having fun tonight here. Yeah. Hey, let's make it 100, call it even. No, I don't normally get 72 people watching my show here. Somebody's fucking around buying views for my channel here. It don't matter, I'm not monetized. It don't make a damn shit to me whether I got 8 people or 68 people. It don't make a damn difference to me. I'm not monetized. But anyway, just be happy you're alive, and if you got some health going for you, man. Just keep in mind anything could happen at any time. So, count your so-called blessings. If you're still alive and still in pretty good shape, and you could walk on your own, talk on your own, you have use of your arms, you don't have any heart conditions, stuff like that, don't have full-blown diabetes and all that crap. So once you have diabetes, I hate to tell you, it's over with. Unless you keep it under control, it's over with. It affects every all the metabolics in your body. That's it. Heart attack comes after that, unless you really find a way to keep it under control. But talk to your doctor about it. I'm not a doctor. You know, a lot of people saying that the shit that they give you for the diabetes, that there are alternatives you can do and take and diet and everything else. And, you know, if you can get that under control, you might be okay. You can do it through diet, actually, for the most part, as I understand. And as I said, I'm no expert on this, but I do read. And, you know, you control that with your diet, too, apparently. That you may not even have to take metformin. So that's just what I read. So, you know, don't quote me and sue me. I'm putting a disclaimer in right now. I'm not a doctor. And I'm certainly not pretending to be. Part of me, I'm drinking water as part of what I was talking about. You got to keep the fluids down. Flush out your toxins in your kidneys. But I piss a lot, though. I mean, I'm not sure how many times a day. I mean, the water basically goes through me, basically. It goes through me. And generally, if you want to know how long it takes for when you drink water to get into your bladder, it's approximately a half an hour, about a half an hour. And if you want to go, a little hint, if you want to go for an ultrasound, I'm going to save you some trouble, but if you want to go for an ultrasound and check out, just for the halibut, your kidneys and all that shit, make sure you drink several bottles of water before you go in there, because they're going to tell you that you have to have a full bladder. So what they'll do is they'll do their ultrasound with a full bladder and see what they can see. Then they're going to tell you to go and relieve yourself and come back. Go to the CR, go to the bathroom, and try to empty your bladder as best as you could. Then they do their measurements and stuff. So you're going to go in with a full bladder, or else they're going to tell you to come back in 10 minutes or something, whatever. Go fill your bladder up with water. As I said, it could take 20 to 30 minutes for it to hit your bladder. They'll do their ultrasound, then hit the bathroom. You know, they want to see what the volume is and stuff of your pee. You know, there's just so many things they do with that. So you're going to go in now with an empty bladder, and they'll go back in there and look at you again, and that's how they do that. So you want two things. While you're there, if you're going to go for an ultrasound, go for a urinalysis. Give them a sample of your urine, because they're going to want to see that anyway to get a full idea of what's going on. Okay, they want to see how much uric acid you have in your pee, is there proteins in your urine, creatinine. They want to measure the creatinine in your urine, because it all ties together. There you go. Pretty good knowledge. Yeah, 91 viewers, my ass. 91 viewers, my lily white ass. Yeah, from 91 to 59. Okay, we're having fun tonight here. All right. Anyway, that's what I have to say about that. That's the longest version I could ever give anybody on anything. So if you have any concerns about your urine habits or your pain, believe me, save yourself a lot of trouble. Go and spend the money if you have insurance or what. Or you don't put out the money. It's not that expensive to have an ultrasound and a urinalysis. Go and do it. Even if you haven't had any pain, even if you're not experiencing any discomfort, go and have it checked out. Have your prostate checked out. Mine was not big. It was 2.1. I did a PSA test on there. Like a prostate antigen test, you know. 2.1. That's like so fucking good. Yet, if you are, when you drink water, you will urinate frequently. I don't really get up out of bed at night to go pee. I wake up once or twice a night. I figure while I'm up, I got a full bladder. I'll just go and take a piss. But I didn't wake up because I had to take a piss. That's how I know that my prostate is not enlarged. But you could have an overactive bladder. That's one of the things on the list, overactive bladder. Oh, I don't know. You could have an obstruction in your urethra, however you want to call it. Urethra and urethra, I don't know. Maybe it's urethra for a man and urethra for a woman. I don't know how that works. Or Aretha Franklin, whatever. But it's better to check something out before it happens, because if they see you got stones in there, you want to act on it right away. Because you don't want to go through that pain. Trust me, you don't want to go through that pain. So, however many people are actually watching me tonight, take my advice on that. I know a lot of people don't think about it because they don't have any problems, but they suddenly come on you. I told you I was in Seattle the first time. I was asleep. I woke up and said, what the fuck? Oh, God, so comfortable I couldn't find a position to stop the pain. I don't know what the fuck it was. Like I said, I called up my daughter at the time. I said, man, probably woke her up, you know. Oh, man, I'm in pain. I don't know what it is. I got to go to the hospital. I said, don't bother, man. I'm going to drive down there. Don't worry about it. Stay home, and I'll go drive myself to Northwest Hospital, which I took a chance to, and it was about, I don't know. It wasn't that terribly far. Probably 5 miles or something from where I lived, I think. I took a chance just driving. Walked right in that ER. I said, man, I'm in pain. I don't know what it is. And right away, they attended to me. It wasn't crowded. And I forgot everything that they did, but they just knocked me out with some fucking morphine or some shit. I woke up the next dawn and felt good. And they said, yep, you had a kidney stone. That's what you had. Here, take this potassium, what do you call stuff? You know, it helps help with dissolving of the stone. Potassium citrate, actually. And citrates will actually reduce your stones if you have any from developing. That's why you want to drink a lot of lemon juice and stuff like that. But if you're going to drink lemon juice, you know, brush your teeth a lot or rinse your mouth, it's going to ruin your enamel and your teeth. But it's really good for everything, the lemon juice. But it will, yes, over time. It's not going to work overnight, okay? But have lemon juice, warm lemon juice every morning with your tea or something, or separate from your coffee or something, you know. There you go. Well, that's a wealth of information. I wasn't planning on talking about kidney stones again, because it's been a topic of mine. But you just happened to mention something about a urinary, and hey, man, you tipped the table on that one, dude. Maybe you're sorry you brought it up. The better I tell you than to experience that for yourself. That's all I could say. Yeah, right. Down to 56. Well, we know we don't have 56, and we know we didn't have 98 viewers either on here. But that's okay. It don't matter to me how many, you know, if I'm not monetized, I don't give a shit how many viewers I have. As long as somebody's listening, I don't give a shit. Otherwise, I'll work doing a show if there's nobody out there. But it don't make a difference to me whether I have 10 viewers or 98 viewers. Don't make a bit of difference. Other than that, let's see, where were we? Oh boy. That would be the gossip channel here. Well, you know, sometimes you have to have something to talk about. Just kind of watch what you say, really. Jim is pretty entertaining, so, and Pro-Life Traveler is too. But we figured him out. It didn't take much to figure him out. He got the young Filipinos on his show all the time, taking him to the mountains, to a hot spring while his wife is home watching the baby, which is all planned. And he's doing a good job of it because he's got the viewers, he's making the money. People are buying into it. No, I don't think he's fucking any of these women. In fact, he's probably going to get his ass kicked by one of the fathers or something because he's been hanging with these Filipinos, kind of making them think that he has an interest in them. And he comes over to their house, and the father's saying, who the fuck is this guy? You know, he's gotta watch his ass. I mean, he looks pretty healthy. He can take care of himself, I think, but you still want to fuck around in the Philippines that way. Don't fuck with these young girls like that, these Filipinas, because their parents are very watchful of foreigners, and you know, you dare do something terrible to one of these young Filipinas, you'll know about it. The whole community will be on your ass. Lesson learned. Oh, and let's see, one of my viewers, what is his name? Oh, the weather is so delightful. What is his name? He's a fence jumper, man. What's the guy's name that comes on my show quite a bit? I got rid of him. I blocked him. I saw him on Popeye's show this morning making a couple of very, kind of suspicious comments about me. Oh, Big Birch. Yeah, Big Birch. Yeah. Big Birch is a troll, just going under a different name. That's how I find out who's loyal to my channel or not. I mean, I do my own investigation. I've gotten rid of a lot of people that way that thought I wasn't watching somebody's show, and I caught them making some, call it derogative or derogatory comments. And I just sweep them away. Okay, I was watching Netflix Stranger Things. And I believe that's over with. It was interesting. It's interesting that the kids in that movie, when it came out to season 1, they weren't making too much money. But man, as they start getting popular, some of them made over 868 grand an episode, over to $1 million or more. And some of the characters now, the woman character in there, she's well known. What's her name? Naomi. What is her name? Naomi. I forgot her name. I never watched many movies with her. She made a lot of money in there. And apparently Big E thinks he's going to get a Netflix special from his writing. Good luck with that, man. Apparently I'm off YouTube. It then came on twice. I'm writing books. That's what I've been doing my time. What's it going to be about? How to form a harem and get away with it? Or I'd be interested with his topic. He says his stuff is very technical. Oh, it's very technical, running a harem. And who knows, one day he said they might even go to Netflix. Yeah, I'd like to see the day that happens. I'd congratulate you personally if you're able to do that. Oh, I would. You can dream, though. You can dream. Dreamers, nothing but a dreamer. Put your hands on your head. Oh, no. Okay, anyway. Okay, I've been on here long enough. My friends and my enemies, my soulmates, my brethrens, my haters, my lovers. I think we had a pretty good shoe tonight. I think I covered a few things. If anything, you walk away from our channel learning something. That was good, but if I ever have to go in there next time, fuck, I don't need a private room. Get a semi-private. The only reason I wanted a private because I was going to sneak a smoke in the bathroom. And I wanted to be courtesy to anybody that might have been in the room. There is some courtesy I do, They knew I smoked in there. They might have said something about it, but they knew. I had all this fucking glaze spray and all this shit in the bathroom, but it didn't work, And the air conditioner room didn't really suck it up and all that. But, I did what I did, whatever. Because, I figure if I'm going to be in that room for a long time, I'm bored out of my freaking mind. I don't know what to do. I'm upset. I'm nervous. Fuck yeah, I'm going to go grab a smoke. Damn. If I was a fucking alcoholic, I'd be drinking. You could hang that carrot every time you want, but it's all false. You could have a fucking harem. You could have whatever you want, material-wise. But the one thing money can't buy is love, and that's the truth. It's one thing money can't buy.